when it was launched back in 2008, the Hyundai i20 created a brand new segment, that of a premium hatchback. This was the first premium hatchback that became really popular in the Indian market. Before the advent and the success of the i20, we never thought that there would be customers willing to pay 8 lakh rupees and above for a hatchback. But that has changed because of how it was styled, because of the quality it offered, because of the equipment it offered. The i20 was a success both in its first generation and the second generation. The third generation i20 is here and it sets a new benchmark as far as the price is concerned, but it also sets a new benchmark when it comes to quality, when it comes to equipment, when it comes to features. So we're driving it today to find out if the new i20 is worth the money that Hyundai is asking for it. Of course, in its third generation, the i20 also features a brand new design. We've discussed that in our preview video, but I'll go over it very quickly once again. What you get is a completely new design. You get this aggressive front here, you get this big grille. On the turbo model that we are testing, this is a dual tone turbo model. You can see the black roof, and in sport trim with the turbo variant, you get a black grille, black front air dam, you get black wing mirrors. So a lot of nice black and red detailing that has now become a feature of Hyundai cars, especially in their sport trim models. Overall, I think the i20 is a really good looking car. It's striking, it looks really nice, and it looks like nothing else on the market. The wheels are also quite nice. These are 16 inches, dual tone. One aspect though which I think could be improved upon, chrome door handles, but then you know, my hate relationship with chrome is well known. So yeah, I would have preferred something that was more you know, body colored or even in black trim, because that would go better with the overall theme. But overall, I have to say the i20, like I said earlier, is fantastic looking. The only controversial part of the i20 for me though has to be the rear end. It is very individualistic, it is very good looking, but with this chrome highlight inside the big tail light cluster, it might be something that people either love or hate. It might be polarizing, but on the good part for Hyundai, it will be something that you will not mistake for any other vehicle. I did miss out on a couple of details that are very interesting in the i20. First, of course, is the C-pillar window. That's unusual. That's something you don't really get to see, a window in C-pillar or hatchback. What it does is it improves sort of the light transmission into the cabin. It does make the glass area bigger. It makes you feel like you're sitting in a bigger car than you actually are. So it's a small thing, but it's a big impact. The chrome highlight here is also quite nicely integrated. It looks interesting. You also get lots of i20 detailing, tail lamps, headlamps on the side sills. So that's quite nicely done because it tells you all the time what car you're looking at, so you don't mistake the i20 for anything else. Also, the rear sort of aerodynamic bumper aid here, of course, it doesn't really help you much when it comes to high speed handling or stability, but to make the car look more aggressive, to make the car look more sporty, it does help in the visual aspect. Now we've already established that when it comes to the exteriors, the i20 is a really good looking car, but it really changes the game when it comes to the i20's interiors. You know, the old i20, the previous generation car, was very high quality and very well equipped when it came to standard equipment. So you would think Hyundai would have a hard time upping the previous generation car with this latest i20, but they've outdone themselves once again. The new i20, from the minute you get inside the car, feels like a superior item to the last i20, and I have to say, it obviously feels like this is the new benchmark for the premium hatchback class. Yes, I would have liked softer touch plastics here on the dash, on the doors, but that apart, the build quality, the way the doors close, the way the switches function, the way all the controls are laid out, the leading 10.25 inch touchscreen display, this is obviously the biggest display in its class. The i20 feels like the premium product that it is. It's obviously very well equipped. On this top spec model, you get 6 airbags, you get a host of safety features including ABS and ESC and ISOFIX mounts for your child seat. You also get climate control, you get air purifier, which in the Delhi winters is very highly recommended and needed actually. Also, I really like the display. The design is very cleanly laid out. You know, minimal switches around you. A lot of the functionality is built into the touch screen, but all your climate controls are right here. You also get USB ports, you get a charging port, you get your cigarette lighter attachment port where you can mount your own chargers, and you also get two more first-in-class features that no other hatchback in this segment offers. First is this digital display. On the left you get the speedometer, on the right you have the rev counter, and you also have a multi-information display screen stuck between the two digital displays of the speedometer and the rev counter. But honestly, I still think that there's nothing wrong with analog meters. Yes, you can get used to the digital meter, but reading an analog meter, a couple of dials going away, that's a mode I still prefer. The other first-in-class feature though is much nicer. It's a Bose 7-speaker audio system. It's equipped with a subwoofer and an amplifier, and I have to say it sounds really good. So if you're looking to buy the higher spec i20, I would recommend you buy the version with the Bose audio in it. Like I said, you also get a lot of space. The i20 has been, the wheelbase has been lengthened, the width has been increased. Well, you can see the front seat space is really good. I've got enough headroom, I've got enough shoulder room. Two full-size adults in the front will be really comfortable, and it will be a nice place to spend time in. In fact, the seats themselves have excellent bolstering and are very, very comfortable. But what happens when I get into the rear seat with the driver's seat set to my height? Well, let's find out. As you can see, space in the rear seat is not a problem either. With the driver's seat set to my height, you still have a lot of space to spare. I would think you've got about between 3.5–4 inches of knee room available with me sitting. Headspace is also quite nice, but I think anybody above 6 feet will have a struggle here. Also, the width has been increased. The new i20 is wider than the last one, but 3 full-size adults will still be a very tight squeeze. I would think it will be a very comfortable space for 4 full-size adults, and given how comfortable the seats are, how nice it feels to sit inside the car. In fact, the glass house now is quite larger, and I think that was a complaint with the last i20. With the rising shoulder line, the glass house felt a little claustrophobic, but this is certainly not going to be a problem with this i20. The C-pillar glass, like I mentioned earlier, as you can see behind me, also helps. More glass area, more visibility outside usually makes for much more comfortable passengers. So if you're looking purely for space, I think in the premium hatchback segment, the i20 will be very, very hard to beat. Now, we've already discussed the design of the i20, we've already discussed the quality, we've discussed the standard features. Now, the point being, how is the i20 to drive? Well, I spent a lot of time with the last generation car. In fact, I think I drove it around for a good 6–8 months. And while it was fantastic in quality, it had decent ride, it wasn't really a driver's car. It was not that engaging to drive. What really enhanced the experience in that version of the i20 was the quality, was the refinement. With this i20, I think Hyundai has moved the game further, even when it comes to drivability, to enjoying your drive. This i20, again, the suspension tuning is absolutely spot on. Bad roads, high speed stability, low speed ride, it's absolutely fantastic. The steering, in fact, has quite a decent amount of feel, which is something I'm really happy about, because having a steering setup where you get some feel, where you get some feedback from the car, gives you much more involvement when you're driving the car, and that is always very key to having a car that you enjoy driving. The involvement factor in the i20 has gone up. It feels nicer to drive. The test car that we have is the 1-liter turbocharged version, 118 bhp, 7-speed DCT, and I have to say, in this car, the 1-liter absolutely fits perfectly. Hyundai claims the 0 to 100 in the 1-liter version comes up in 9.9 seconds, and I think I don't have any premise to doubt that. With the 1-liter, the i20 feels quick. The mid-range is really good, and for average city driving, which most i20s will be used for, it's got good throttle response. It's very refined. In fact, the refinement is something that you will notice when you sit inside the i20, other than the quality, of course, is that your isolation from the outside world, how it sort of drowns out the traffic noises, how the road noise is quite muted, how the wind noise is almost nil. That feels really good. So the i20 gives you a really premium experience. Like I said earlier, the seats are exceedingly comfortable, and when you pair that with the low NVH levels in this petrol engine at least, and the comfortable seats and the isolation from outside world, the i20 feels like a great place to be in. Now, of course, I've already spoken about the quality, how the steering feels. I love the 10.25-inch touchscreen. It looks really good. Hyundai's UI and UX in this is fantastic. And it's sort of, one of the things with this is that it feels custom built for Hyundai. It feels really good. It works well. And that contributes further to the luxury experience. I've already spoken about the audio system. I quite like it. In fact, I was enjoying some jazz, which was absolutely sounding fantastic. Now, when I first saw the pricing of the i20, my first reaction was, and I think that's the biggest elephant in the room, what about the pricing of the i20? My first reaction to the i20's pricing was that it's overpriced. And I really wanted to come and say, the i20, well, it's good, but it's overpriced and I can't justify it. Unfortunately, after having experienced it, after having driven it in urban traffic, on decent high-speed highways, on bad roads, having seen the refinement, the quality and the design, I really like the i20. It's a great product. In fact, it moves the game further up in the premium hatchback segment. None of its competitors today can match what the i20 is offering as a package. Yes, there are some compromises you'll have to make. Is it a driver's car? Is it a car that really wants you to sit in and go pedal to the metal all the time? No, it's slightly more mature than that. It's nicer when you're cruising around in. It's very comfortable. It's exceedingly nice. So yes, it's not a driver's car. Yes, I would like traditional analog dials instead of this digital display. Yes, on the 1 litre, I would like paddle shifters for additional control. Yes, I would like it to be priced a few thousand rupees less, maybe 50 grand, 80 grand. But if you're looking for the best in this segment, in the luxury hatchback, in the premium hatchback segment, if you're looking for a car that's spacious, that's safe, that's comfortable, that gives you a really plush feeling, the i20 is currently unmatchable. So if you're looking for a premium hatchback, look no further. The i20 in at least the 1 litre petrol variant that I'm driving today answers all of your needs.